welcome back. Today we're going to talk about wage and benefit issues. Finally, the meat and potatoes of a lot of the contract disputes and a lot of the negotiations that go on. Wage and benefits. That's what we work for. That's why we're here. That's why I give you my labor, because I need wage and benefits, because I have to live. I have to eat food, and I have to buy housing, and et cetera, et cetera. So let's don't make any joke about it. That's kind of really why I'm here. There's other things I enjoy about this job, but wage and benefits are key. And when you take my organizational behavior class, we'll talk about that in detail. The union has three main foci. You like that Latin term? Three main directives that they want to involve themselves in when it comes to wage and benefit issues. These three are equity, ability to pay, and standard of living. So we're going to talk about each one of those individually. Let's talk about equity. The unions want their jobs to at least be comparable to or to exceed the compensation that non-union jobs pay. That's what they want. They want to be able to say, see, you have joined this union, and because you have joined this union, we have become powerful enough to negotiate with employers to make them or to convince them to pay us an above average rate, because we deserve an above average rate, because we are the best. That's the philosophy. So the union wants to make sure that when it comes to wage and benefit issues, that we're at least equitable to non-union firms, and we really want to be superior to non-union firms in the kind of wage and benefits that we receive. There's all kinds of studies. Some will tell you there's really no effect, except in a few organizations and a few industries. Sometimes you'll see reports that say no, the union actually has a significant increase over income to non-union, and it really all depends on the year you read the report or who wrote the report. So that debate is still out. I can't help but believe that if unions really could show that union members make more money than non-union members, that union activity would be a lot higher than 12%. I just have to believe that. The second thing we have is ability to pay. What is the firm's ability to pay? Because I want, as a union, I want them to pay me at the height of their ability, to the most of their ability. That's what I want them to pay me. Excuse me. So there are a lot of issues where the union wants to go in and say, what kind of ability do you have, company, to pay me? Well, as you know, private companies are private. They don't have to tell anybody anything. But if you are a private company that sells stock, then now you are a public company, and most big companies are public because that's how they go out and get their capital. So if the union really wants to know how the company's doing, they don't knock on the door and go, would you give me your balance sheet? Would you give me your income statement? Would you give me your financials? Because the company go, you're crazy. Well, the union will do, they'll go out and buy one share of stock. That's all you have to buy, one share of stock. And the company will send them their financial reports once a year. So if it's a publicly held company, this is no secret. Privately held, that's another issue. But most of this discussion is about publicly held companies. So the union knows exactly what kind of profitability they have. They know exactly what accounting methods they're using, which might be diminishing the level of profit they make because of legal accounting activities that they're doing. And so the union will have their accountants look and say, is this true? Are they really making more money than we really think they are, et cetera, et cetera, all within legal context. When it comes to the union trying to determine the company's ability to pay, there's complete transparency here, certainly if it's a public company. because I can go, as I said, buy a share of that stock. I know exactly what you're making because I'm an owner now, and you report to the owners what you make. So there's transparency here. You can hide things legally, not hide things, that's a terrible term. You can move things around legally, and companies do that all the time. And accountants can say, okay, you did that for reasons that we'll disclose later, but in the reality, once I get through all the mumbo jumbo, here's what you really made. Here's what you really have. So the union wants the company to pay them at the height of their ability. I want to get every dime you can give me and still stay in business. And that's ability to pay. So that's certainly a wage and benefit issue. And unions will go to companies and go, look at all this money you made, and you're telling me you can't increase my wage by 50 cents an hour. So that's certainly a bargaining chip when it comes to this. The third one was standard of living. Union discussion is an economic discussion. And economics is just a fascinating endeavor, and I'm really not smart enough to truly understand. I wish I was. But demand and supply literally can be used to explain just about any kind of human behavior you want to explain. And we know through our economic training that you have had that standard of living is an issue that means because of something called inflation, that $1 a year ago bought this much stuff, and $1 today buys this much stuff. It's still $1. It's still $1. But it used to be I could come home with 5 pounds of hamburger with this $1 last year. And today when I go to the store with $1, I only come back with 4 pounds of hamburger. Okay, so we've got that kind of situation going on. And standard of living tries to make sure that that $1 I got last year is equal to the same amount of money I'm getting and my ability to purchase this year. So if you gave me $1 last year, and this year you're still giving me $1 per hour, making this up, hypothetical, I can look at you and go, you've given me a decrease in pay because of inflation, because of standard of living, because of all these issues. You've given me a decrease in pay. It's still $1 and $1, but last year I could buy 5 pounds of hamburger with that $1. This year I only buy 4 pounds of hamburger with that $1. So you've actually given me less money this year, even though it's still $1. That $1's not worth what that $1 was a year ago. So because of that, and because of these standard of living issues that the unions always focus on, the big thing the unions focus on during this standard of living is called COLA, a cost of living adjustment, which says we don't want to have to negotiate. Remember, we sat down in January of 2000 and banged out a contract. And, excuse me, let me bring it up to date. We sat down in January 2013 and banged out a contract. It's now, and it was a 3-year contract. It's now 2014, and it said you would pay me $1 an hour, just for ease of discussion. But because of inflation, and because of the cost of living and the standard of living, that $1 is not worth that $1 was a year ago. I can't renegotiate a contract with you. We know all about that. That's kind of against the law. So I'm going to put in the contract that the salary we agreed on a year ago will be adjusted to the cost of living, a cost of living adjustment, a COLA. Automatically, we don't have to come back and fuss at you about this. You don't have to fuss at us about it. We'll have an index, whether it's the inflation rate or whether it's usually a government-issued index, and we'll tie it to that. So if that goes up, my pay goes up. You'll never see that if that goes down, my pay will go down. That's another issue. But if it costs more to buy a loaf of bread next year, you will put that in, we will put that in the contract, and that will be an automatic. That will be an automatic situation that will happen. So, 3 things when it comes to wage and benefit issues: always equity, ability to pay, and standard of living. So you need to understand how that works. Another thing that comes into play 2013 is health care. Now, I know that you guys think you're bulletproof and you're 10 feet tall. You'll never get sick. It'll never, ever, ever happen. Other people get in car wrecks, not you. Other people have, natural disasters happen to them, but not you. You're invincible. I've been there. I know exactly how you feel. I can remember my employers going, "We're going to start taking some money out for insurance." I said, no, give me that money. Let me go downtown with that money. Yeah, I'm not going to get sick. I've never been sick a day in my life. I'm not going to be in a wreck. I'm a careful driver, etc., etc. All right, is that cool or not cool? However, with the cost of healthcare doing what it has done, you guys know that. You read it, but you really don't understand it. And the reason is, you are very healthy. Absolutely, you're very healthy. Wait till you get to my age. You'll realize, my goodness, I'm like that old man I used to look at, and he wasn't healthy, and dadgum, how did this happen to me? It will happen to you. I'm telling you that. That's not to depress you. I'm just trying to make you a little more aware right now. From 1983 to 2010, less than, 30 years, healthcare costs have gone up over 100%. 100%. And they were expensive in 1983. So it's not like we went from, oh, you didn't cost you a thing. It was burdensome in 1983. It has doubled since then. It is amazing. Simple operation. A simple 45-minute operation where you are in the hospital for 23 hours. They can't keep you 24 because it throws you into another cost bracket. 23 hours, you're talking $10,000. By the time it's over, I guarantee you, $10,000. $10,000 for a 45-minute operation. Now, number one, thank goodness they could do the operation on you. Number two, $10,000. Where are you going to get $10,000? So, healthcare is a huge topic when it comes to wage and benefits, because you cannot afford health care on your salary. I tell you that. I promise you that. You cannot. It is too expensive. So you have to count on your company providing you with health care. And the cost of that has gone up exceedingly. So when these contracts come into negotiation, yeah, we'll talk about hourly rate, et cetera, but I guarantee you we're talking about health care. And how much of it the company's going to pay, how much you have to pay, the kind of benefits you receive from that health care, that is absolutely crucial. Second thing, who cares? Another thing that comes into play when you're talking about wage and benefit issues is a pension plan. Pension plans are highly misunderstood. When you're 21 years old, you really don't even think about a pension plan, because pension plans are for when you're 65. And when you're 21, you're not thinking about being 65. You never will, you never do. I'm getting real close to 65 and I still don't think about being 65. So it truly is a situation where it's way down the road. I know it's coming intellectually, but I'm not going to worry about it today. Are you kidding? Take money out of my paycheck for something that might happen 65 years from now? You are crazy. But knowing the reality of what's happened to healthcare and the health in this country, it's something you need to focus on right now. I'm just telling you as a friend, you need to focus on this right now. There are all kinds of pension plans out there. This course is not designed to teach you those or to talk about those. What I'm imploring you to do is go get on that interweb and look at pension plans. Look them up, see what it is. And we'll talk about some here. There are pension plans within companies. The main one is, well, not the main one, they're two basic. One is called defined and one is called undefined. A defined pension plan says if you work for this company for this many of years, you have to be this many years. It's usually called you're vested. There's all kind of other terms. In other words, until you're here, vested used to be 10 years. That used to be a standard. Once you're here 10 years, you can involve yourself in this pension plan whether you truly retire legally with the age limit or you just leave after 10 years. And an example of a non-defined benefit pension plan is that I've got this company's got this plan, and if you'll put in up to, I'm making this up to 6% of your salary, you can put in this plan. So if you're making, make it easy, $100,000, well, you can put up to $6,000 a year in this pension plan. Sometimes, and it will be untaxed, it'll just sit there, it'll gather interest. Sometimes the company will say, and we'll match it. We'll match it 100%. I can remember those days, they don't exist anymore. Or we'll match it 50 cents per dollar that you put in. Well, if it was 100% and you didn't take advantage of that, you were crazy, because you could put in $6,000, they'd put in $6,000. Now you've got $12,000 a year that you're saving. That's in an interest account. That's making money for you. When you retire legally or when you're vested, we'll write you a check. Here's that money. You can have it. And you go, man, that's great. But do the math. Forget 6,000. Let's say that you manage to, between you and the company, whether they give you money or don't, you manage to save $3,000 a year. Well, in 10 years, that's $30,000. Okay, in 30 years, that's $90,000. And your head's spinning, $90,000. So you retire, and they write you a check for $90,000. Thank you. It's got a little interest on it. Let's make it $100,000. $100,000. How long can you live on $100,000? You don't have a job anymore. Don't count on Social Security. I mean, count on it. I think it'll be there. But Social Security is going to pay you $2,000 a month. Seriously, $2,000 a month. I've been working all my life, and I'll look into it because I'm kind of getting close to 65. And my projected Social Security payment's going to be like $2,100 a month. You can't do anything on $2,100 a month. So, okay, I'm going to get $2,100 a month Social Security, but hey, I got this $100,000 in the bank. How long is that going to last you? If you had to use $20,000 a year out of that savings to live, that's 5 years. And at the end of that 5 years, you have zero. You still have that little bit of money coming in from the government, but that's all you got. You don't have that $20,000 a year anymore. So pension plans are very important. Now, defined pension plans, some companies will give you defined pension plans that say, again, you put this much money into it every month, and they'll calculate that if you make it to the end date, and usually that end date is 65. If you make it to the end of 65 and you're in a defined pension plan, they'll take all your money, and then it's usually the highest couple of years and blah, 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 and there's these formulas. But they'll say, tell you what, we'll write you a check every month, $1,800 a month. Every month, just like a paycheck, and we will give it to you for life, as long as you live. Now, even if you've only had $100,000 that you've contributed, we'll give you $1,800 a month. When you get to $100,000, we'll still, so it's run out, the next month we'll still give you $1,800. We promise. So if you live to be 3,000 years old, that company's going to lose some money, but they'll do that because they know you're not going to live to 3,000. Actuarians will tell them this is how long that guy's going to live. You don't worry about it. But the point is, defined is a much better plan because it's a guaranteed amount every month. It's not going to run out. Again, you personally need to go in and look into these pension plans, not for this test, not for this course, because dadgummit, that's your future. And when I was your age, I didn't even think about the future. It was just going to happen, and it was going to be wonderful. And by the way, it has been. But at some point, you need to sit up and say, you know, I don't have a sugar daddy, so I better figure out how I'm going to pay for things toward the end, when work's not going to probably be as prolific or as available, and so you need to think about that. Obviously, the government has allowed, even though your company doesn't even want to offer one of these, the government has offered this thing called a 401k. A lot of people, well, where'd that come from? That comes from an IRS tax code. 401k under something, 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 something. But literally, when you look it up in the policy manual, it's 401k that explains this. And you can take up to a certain amount of your income every year and put it in a 401k that earns money. You can go to a bank, you can figure out what kind of account you want to put it in, but it's a 401k, and it is tax-free. So if you put $100 a month in a 401k, they don't tax you on that as income. They subtract that from what your taxable amount of income, and you put it in there until you 65. I think you can withdraw it at 59 early. If you drop before then, there's all kind of penalties. You lose your money. But the point is, you basically are setting up your own pension plan. You're trying to provide money for yourself when you hit 65. And you need to take advantage of those opportunities. But again, you just need to understand in general what pension plans are for, that pension plans are often mentioned in contracts. They are always mentioned in contracts because it's a wage and benefit issue. But forget about this course for a minute. You need to do it for your own well-being. So now let's talk about wage structure. Obviously, everybody doesn't make the same wage in a union that works for a company. Everybody in that bargaining unit does not make the same wage. We have different skill levels in that bargaining unit. We have some people that it doesn't matter. It's a very low-skilled job. We have some people that it's a highly skilled job. They've had to have some extensive training. And obviously, you're going to have different pay grades. And that's what wage structure talks about. The pattern of wage rates among the people that work in this industry, and particularly in this bargaining unit. And you know there's going to be different pay scales. That's just common sense. The guy that's been there forever and has had all this technical training and is running that $30 million machine, that person's going to get paid more than the person who just came in yesterday and their job is a basic laborer. So the unions understand that. Union members understand that. And that's a motive for union members to increase their development, to increase their skill level so that they can move up through these pay grades. Benefits and demographics. Who needs these benefits? What kind of demographics need these benefits? And you're going to say, well, that's crazy. Everybody needs these benefits, and they do. But my point of demographics is different levels of demographics. And when we're talking about demographics, we're talking men, women. We're talking young, old. We're talking racial demographics. We're talking health demographics. Different levels of people at different points in their career need different benefits and use benefits differently. For example, women to the age of 55 have higher health needs than men do. We know that because of the money we spend. And if you think about it, you know, women go through pregnancy and birth. Men don't have to go through that. That's a huge expense. Women go through some other kind of health expenses that are focused on the female gender here. They have different needs, health needs, so they're going to spend a lot of their money before 55. Once they hit 55, the level of health care to women drops off. Men are just the opposite. Up into 55, men have lower health care needs and costs. However, once men get to 55, we fall apart. And you just wait. You fall apart. You get up in the morning and you go, what is that? So men's health care costs, as measured by actual payment, go up after 55. So these are just different needs at different points in times for different demographics. And a lot of times these different needs will be in the contract. because you don't want men to be getting to 56 and all of a sudden them saying, no, we're not going to give you that. And you don't want women at 25 going, we really need these benefits because of our demographic and where we are in our age. And the company goes, oh, so they understand that. And the union has now brought that to bear and is, making that recognizable and is helping companies come to the realization, yeah, we need to do this for our employees. Union effect on pay. There has been research recently that says that, in effect, unions do receive a significant greater amount of pay than non-union employees. There have been research in the past, when I say past, 10 years ago, that says there's not a significant difference. So I don't know if that's because of the issues we went through in the 2009, 2010, that hideous recession we had recently. I don't know if that's a cause of it. It doesn't matter. The point is, it's still kind of up for debate. Does the union really give you higher wages than non-union jobs? Do they really give you greater benefits than non-union jobs? The one thing I do know is that you have a contractual obligation in the union that if you win those concessions, you get those things. If you're not in a union, you really have no demand for that. You really cannot insist that you get that. So there is a little more security within the union in terms of these pay structures, in terms of these benefit issues, because it will be in the contract. And the company can't make those decisions on a yearly basis or a monthly basis to either decrease it or increase it or whatever they want to do. What we have seen, though, is that seniority within a union will lead to a higher wage. That just makes sense. You've been there longer, you've received more training, theoretically you have more worth to the company, and so they're paying you that. There's an issue of merit pay. The unions can't stand merit pay. Merit pay means if I've done good, if I've shown you through my work that I merit an increase, you'll get it. On the outside, just at the beginning, looking at merit pay, you go, of course, absolutely. And so there's a piece of me that understands that. If you're worth it, you need to get it. That's just my opinion. The reason the unions have a problem with merit pay is they say, who is deciding who's meritorious here? Who has decided this person deserves merit pay? Well, that's management. And so the union, which does not trust management, is saying, okay, if we let you do merit pay, you're going to pick and choose who gets the increases. And you're going to pick and choose people who are more friendly toward you, who agree with you, who aren't going to fight with you like we do because we're fighting for the common man. So that's why unions hate merit pay, because of the way it is decided on a person-by-person issue. The last thing we're going to talk about in wage and benefit issues is profit sharing. Profit sharing is kind of a good idea. Profit sharing basically says if we make more profit, if the company increases their profitability, we think it can obviously be through your worker effect, how the individual employee did better work, did more work. And I want to encourage that. As a management team, I want you to work as hard as you can. I want you to give me the most profit you can possibly give me. So how do I encourage that? Can I just say, come on, y'all work harder, give me more work? Well, we've seen that's really not a great motivating factor. So companies came up with this, tell you what, if you increase profits from last year to this year by this much, we will let you share in that profit. In addition to the wage you get, we'll give you a little piece of that profitability. Okay, that's great. That motivates me to really get on the bandwagon and work harder and try to help the company increase its profits because they're going to let me share in that. The downside to profit sharing is usually when a profit sharing goes into effect, it is, we're not going to give you any raise, wage increase. We're going to let you share in the profit. So your wages are going to just stay flat right here over the next contract year. However, if you increase the profits, we'll let you share in that. So there's a risk there. What research has shown is that when profit sharing works, when it actually returns something to the employee, it's because of the general economy, not because of the work the worker put in. So you can work your tail off, really try, but the economy's bad, nobody's buying anything, and profits really didn't increase. What we've seen is that when profits really do increase, it's because of economic conditions, not because of what the individual worker has done. So it's kind of like hit and miss. If you have a profit sharing during good economic times, great. If you're under profit sharing just during a downturn in economics, you're not going to get a wage increase, and you're really not going to share in a whole bunch of profit sharing because it's not going to be there. So in general, what we've looked at here are these critical issues of wage and benefits. When we talk about going into employment, that's the first thing we want to know. We want to know what we have to do. We want to know what kind of work environment I'm going to be in. But the big question is, how are you going to compensate me for coming into your organization and helping you move forward? Everybody wants that, and I understand that. I want that, and you want that. So wage and benefits are crucial to all of us, especially in the union management relationship. All right, so that kind of wraps that up. We'll see you later. Have a great day. Peace.